Hello, everyone. Okay, we are here to chat Emma M. Lyon Volume 2. So excited. I hope everybody enjoyed reading Volume 2 this month. Let me know in the comments. General thoughts. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you invested in the series? Has anyone here read ahead yet? We have had some people in the Discord group who I believe have, some of them I think have completed the whole series already. So I know it's hard to rein it in when you get very into Emma M. Lyon. So yes, let's see. Fashion Aplenty, I see you are here. And you haven't read the books, but happy to listen. Excellent. And, we'll probably talk other bookish things as well. So I'm so glad that you are here. And we will, I think I'm just going to do one longer reading sprint kind of in the middle, and then we'll talk books on either side of that. So if you're here for the reading sprints, that will be happening. Elizabeth is here. Was so funny. Yes, we'll read the series. Excellent. So glad you're enjoying it. Deborah is here. Hi from Wisconsin. I have my bookworm t-shirt on today because it's so warm here in California. It's like 78 degrees here where I am, which I hate to tell you because I know some of you are probably freezing, but it is going to cool back down again. We're just having a weird, just like one-off day of really warm weather, and then it's supposed to rain this weekend. So, but Jacqueline is here. Hello. And Shell is here. Mr. Opening. You haven't missed much, really. If you want to, just start putting general, did you like volume 2? What are your initial thoughts? And then we will get kind of talking about it. I did write down a bunch of notes of things we can talk about. So we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. I've read book 2, so I can't. I thought you were all along. Nope. We started in January, so we're in book 2. So we're just going to follow the months. So we will read through volume 8 in August. So if you've read through book 5, you're good. Yes, snowing where you are. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. It'll be rainy. It'll be rainy here on Sunday, which I'm kind of looking forward to because I'm thinking maybe I'll just have like a cozy watch movie, read books, do a puzzle or something kind of a day. So kind of looking forward to that. Today I repotted my house plants, which were in desperate need. I had this giant jade plant that was in this teeny tiny little pot. And I finally got some new pots and potting soil and did that this afternoon. So hi, Teresa. Welcome. Yes, absolutely. Anyone is welcome, whether you've read the books or not. And maybe this will inspire you to pick one up. Oh, Shell says it's t-shirt weather in Alabama, but going to a storm again next week. Yeah, this is the time of year in California where we have lots of kind of up and down weather, like February, March, April. It can be warm or even hot and then cool way back down again. That's kind of what we're having right now. Jacqueline says she loved volume 2, found myself highlighting quotes in this one. Yes, look how much I tabbed up my book, you guys. So I marked a lot of things in here that just struck me as funny or things I wanted to refer back to. So I thought it would be kind of fun to go through and maybe discuss some of the characters, because I really feel like the characters in volume 2, like it just kind of explodes with characters. And this is the first book. We obviously start getting there's a character list, or as Beth Brower calls it, a previously mentioned persons of interest list. So this will just get increasingly longer as the books go along and more characters are introduced to us. So we do get quite a few new ones in here. Quite a few. I think the men kind of start shining a little bit in this volume. We sort of start seeing, we get Islington shows up in this one. We meet Roland. Obviously, we have Young Hawks and the tenant, Niall Pierce. I think it's Niall. Does anyone know if it's Neil or Niall? I think Niall is Niall, I want to say, in like British parlance. Anyone here know for sure if I'm pronouncing that right? Jacqueline in the comments says you really, yeah. Who else hates Archibald? Show of hands in the comments because he is the worst. With the morning jacket thing, it just drives me crazy. Like he's such a like kind of prissy kind of man. And so yeah, he just kind of I'd say it's pronounced like Nile. Yes. See, that's what I think too. Like Nile. Yes. All the hands up for not liking Archibald. I agree. He's the absolute worst. But I do really love the other men in Emma's life. I like the banter she has with Roland. I think that, I mean, she has a banter with all of them, but the Roland, because they have this sort of childhood antagonistic relationship that's now changing now that they're grown and he's matured. So that's kind of fun to see how that's evolved. And Emma's sort of like taken aback by how mature he is. She's expecting, I don't know, him to like do some prank or something, but that's not really who he is anymore. So their relationship is fun. And of course, Niall and Emma, we get to see a little bit development of that. And then Islington is really introduced, I think, in this one. So yeah, lots of fun with yes, Jacqueline mentioned the Archibald's layered vest for the dinner with the tenant. I know, and I was trying to imagine like what that would look like. Like, because I'm not sure if we're talking about like, are we talking about sort of like a vest like we do like in the US, a vest is like a sleeveless, a man's like vest, like dinner jacket vest would be like have buttons on it. And sometimes I was trying to picture like what would multiple vests on a single person look like? Like very, very strange. He's too him and Perian, also Perian too. And how should we talk about the discrepancy in Perian's salary versus Agnes's salary? And I love how Emma's like, no, that's not gonna fly anymore. He's making like what 30 pounds? Is it a month or something? And she's making 4 or something. I was like, that is insane. Oh, hi Jenny, I see you there. Yes, also not an Archibald fan, and Roland is growing on you as well. Yeah, I like Roland. I mean, he's sort of like he's almost like a brother figure for Emma, and I feel like she sort of needs that. So I do like their relationship where it doesn't really feel like there's romantic possibilities there, but there's definite kinship between the two of them, and I feel like he's maybe somebody she can rely on. So I like that about Roland. Oh yeah, Shell says she was also furious with the difference in salary, right? Like. What? No. Ugh, see, another reason to hate. That's like another check in the I hate Archibald list because what? No. Agnes is doing all the work and Perian is doing basically nothing. So yeah. And then so what do I love the letters or the notes that Niall and Emma pass through the little chink in the wall, and the reference to Paramus and Thisbe. Does everybody know the Paramus and Thisbe story? I'm not sure if that's something that everybody's familiar with, or did anybody look that up? Quickly, if you're not familiar with Paramus and Thisbe, it is a Greek story. It's almost like Romeo and Juliet, where it's these two sort of star-crossed lovers, and then they do the whole like one of them pretends to be dead, the other one stumbles upon it and actually kills himself. Anyway, it's that whole thing. But they send letters, excuse me, through a chink in the wall between their homes, and Shakespeare parodied it in A Midsummer Night's Dream. So the Mechanicals, which are these like acting troupe in Midsummer Night's Dream, they put on a play of Paramus and Thisbe. It is very, very funny. Excuse me, I got to tickle my throat. So Elizabeth, you had to look up Paramus and Thisbe. Yeah. I happen to know it because I was in A Midsummer Night's Dream in high school, and so I've read it. I've been in it twice, and I've read it a few times. So I was familiar, and then I studied it when I took a Greek mythology class. So, so that is kind of I love the little notes through the wall. That's so fun. let's see. Oh, let's talk about Aunt Eugenia meeting with Emma to discuss where she's to sit, eye contact, etc., to speak. Yeah, I love Aunt Eugenia. Yes, and she's very much got Catherine de Bourgh vibes from Pride and Prejudice, which I do think we talked about that a little bit last month as well. But yes, I like Aunt Eugenia because she could have just been sort of a flat, like kind of, you know, one-dimensional character, but I think she's more nuanced than that because it's not like she's the evil stepmother or something like that kind of a character, because I think Emma has enough of those in her life. So she's, she's on her mission with Arabella and she's completely focused on that. And while she sort of treats Emma a bit like a lackey, she, I think when push comes to shove, I think Emma is still she's still blood. She's still family to Aunt Eugenia. And I think she would make sure that Emma was okay. I don't think she'd ever like send her out to live on the streets or something, so, but, and, I don't want to, there are some things that happen in later volumes, but just even in this volume too, I think you can see they do have a kind of interesting rapport, like their banter back and forth is really fun. And you can see, I think Aunt Eugenia, she's trying to help Emma like fit in with society. But I also think she finds Emma's kind of snarkiness funny at times. And so, but I think she has to like rein that in. So, oh yeah, Jacqueline. So real quick, this is gonna actually, you guys are all gonna get to see this. This is a sneak preview. Jacqueline sent me this beautiful 250th anniversary Jane Austen vase. So yeah, for flowers. But it's so beautiful. I love it. Thank you, Jacqueline. And yes, you're all gonna see it in my video that's coming out this Tuesday. But I have it sitting here right next to me. Yes, I like Aunt Eugenia too. I think she's a great character. Aunt Eugenia reminded me of my Aunt Gerda. She was a force to be reckoned with. She had definite ideas on how things should go, but she had a good heart and we all loved her. Yes, I think that's exactly it. I think, she's like Aunt Eugenia's the aunt that like, Emma's like, oh, she's rolling her eyes at her and stuff. Like she's all this craziness with trying to find Arabella a husband. But I think ultimately Emma knows she can rely on her. Like you're right. Like there's goodness underneath there. It's not like with Archibald where you just feel like he's a heartless, soulless creature. Thank you, Shell. I love it too. Yes. Such a Jacqueline, you spoil me. You spoil me. That's all I have to say. Let's chat about, what we haven't talked about is the Roman. How does everybody feel about the Roman storyline and what's going on with that? And I love how freaked out. I mean, I don't love it, but poor Agnes, so freaked out because the Roman was in their house. And but I sort of like this whole, St. Crispian's it's clearly not the real London. Like there is this sort of element of almost magical realism. Like we have the read and write and, all the stuff that goes missing, it leaves your house, ends up in somebody else's house. And, then they have these shelves at the read and write where you can go and look for things that you're missing. So, we have these sort of almost, almost kind of magical things going on but still it's mostly, it feels mostly real, outside of these small little things. But yeah. So I'm curious what everybody's thoughts are on the Roman. And I love the idea of the read and write, like, oh, I'm missing my favorite pen has gone missing and I'm gonna go to the read and write and I'll have some tea while I'm here and I'll see if my pen has showed up on the shelves, and that there's like this committee that like keeps track of things. And you can write in the book if you find something or when you pick up something, you have to fill out the book that you took your thing. And just this whole system that they've got, I think it breeds a real sense of community within the St. Crispian's neighborhood, that it's not just, all these people going about their separate lives. They have these connections, these strange goings on that keep them all connected to one another. And I always get the feeling that nobody's like talking about it outside of the neighborhood. Like nobody would tell somebody who didn't live in St. Crispian's what, it's like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I feel like it's what happens in St. Crispian's stays in St. Crispian's, that nobody is like sharing that with the outside world. And so again, just kind of breeding that sense of Emma having this place in the world where she feels like she really belongs and is part of this whole community there. Jacqueline said, yeah, she thought the same when she took the tenant to the place to find lost items. I know. And I think Niall was like, this is crazy. Somebody in the Discord mentioned there's a quote where he says something like, I feel like I've entered a storybook. And it just, I could imagine if you moved to St. Crispian's, that you would feel like you'd been dropped into like these crazy goings on of this, not only just Emma's household, but the community in general. It just feels a little, he's like, what? I can go, I'm missing a lens for my camera and I need to go to the read and write to see if it's there. Like, what? This is crazy. And then it's up on the top shelf where they keep all the stuff that's might be breakable or, is of some, real value. And yes. So, Shell says, I don't understand the role of the Roman in the story so far. Yeah, I mean, the Roman is, I'm not sure where we're going to go with the Roman. Again, other than giving us this sense that St. Crispian's is not just our normal, is not just the normal London of the Victorian age, right? There's something else going on here. Jacqueline says, I love the magical element. I love ghosts in a story though. Yeah. So I think it's fun. Like and it doesn't feel, it's not like a scary ghost, right? He doesn't seem scary, even though he said the whole thing about there's a man of war coming to your house. He doesn't feel like super ominous, almost like he's an overseer, not that he's going to do like bad ghosty things or something, like he's not going to come and knock books off your shelves and do that kind of stuff. He's gonna like, heed this warning. He's like the ghost in A Christmas Carol or something like that. So oh yes. So yeah, there isn't yet, Beth Brower doesn't have out, there is no map yet of St. Crispian's, but there is a map that a fan has done. And I think, where did I share it? I think I shared it in the Discord group. So if you're in the Discord group, if you go back into the volume 1 thread, you can find the map of St. Crispian's in there. And I may also, if I can, I might put a copy of it in my Patreon, but just as a free, everybody can access it. So as long as you just go in, you can sign up for Patreon, any Patreon, as a free version, and you don't get to see that much, but I can make a few things accessible. And so I might put it there as well. So those of you who want to see a map of St. Crispian's can see that. Yes, Jacqueline says, thinking the ghost in Mrs. Muir. I need to read that book. I have that book on my shelf. So yes, I might read that. I don't know. Is that a good book to read like in the fall? Is it ghosty like in that way, or should I read it before then? I don't know. Yeah. And if you aren't following Beth Brower both on Instagram and also her Substack, you can get her newsletter. She has a free version. You can get her newsletter, which she sends out, I want to say like monthly. And she gives, just updates on what's going on with Emma and Lion and just general things. And then there is a paid version of her Substack, and she does write stories like subplot stories to the Emma M. Lion books, and you can get access to those if you pay to be like a member of her Substack, which I just did because I thought it would be fun. And so, but I need to go back. She just sent out the newest story, but I don't think it made a lot of sense to me because I haven't read the prior stories. So I need to go back, read them all in order. And like when you get the newest story, there's a link at the bottom to all of the prior stories. So I think I want to go back. I'm just going to read them in order. And I don't think none of them, I think, affect like any of the plot. I think some of them are about some characters that I think we're going to meet in the next volume. So I don't want to give anything away yet. But one of the upcoming volumes. Anyway, and that's just, so it's just kind of fun. So just some other ways if you want additional Emma M. Lyon content, Instagram and Beth Brower Substack are a great way to get that. Oh, you were thinking of the movie, Jacqueline? Yes, I want to read the book first. I found the book just at a local secondhand bookstore. And then the same author has another book. I'm looking on my shelves to see if I can remember. Of course, now I can't think where they are. And I can't remember the name of the other book, but I want to read both of them, but I do want to watch the movie after I read the book. Oh, Gene Tierney and Rex Harrison. Oh, that's a great cast. Let's see. Beth has loaded up on male characters. Each of them is so interesting. I'd have trouble making a choice. I might have to take a very long time deciding. Yes. I think Emma might be in that same camp. So let us chat a little bit about this sort of options for Emma. Who of the men in Emma's life, put this in the chat, who do you think are like romantic options for Emma? So we have of Niall, of Islington, Young Hawks. We have Jack. We haven't talked about Jack. We should talk about Jack. And Roland. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men in her life right now. Who of those 5 do you think they're all potential romantic interests for her? And who do you want to see Emma end up with at this moment in time? Put that all in the chat and let's chat about that. I'm so torn. Right now as to who I mean, I think in volume 2, we don't really know them well enough yet, maybe to make a really good guess on that. But, let's try anyway, because that's fun. But yes, Jack. So Mary's cousin, who we know is not a cousin. That's a really fun little sequence of events. We should talk about the Janes as well, the little Jane Eyre Society from the school that Emma and Mary went to, and how Jack helps them out with that. And then I love that whole scene. I love the character that Jack takes on, that they're playing this husband and wife character. And he's just, like, he's not an upstanding guy, I don't think. I think he's up to a lot of not good stuff, but he still seems, he's like a charming rapscallion. There's just something very likable about Jack. And I love that whole sequence of events that happens with him, and how they make this bargain where he'll leave all of Emma's friends and family alone, won't get them into any trouble. And now she owes him 2 favors. So we'll have to see what those end up being. Let's see. Okay. So Jacqueline says right now she would say Niall. Roland is more like a brother cousin, like you noted. Yes, I agree. And then Jenny says Niall or Islington. She says she's interested in learning more about the tenant. Could he be a good suitor? Could he? Potentially. I mean, they definitely seem, their little notes back and forth, they seem sympathetic to each other, Yeah, the Jane Eyre Society is just fantastic. And that is another thing that I wanted to mention. So I've decided, just for my own pure enjoyment, and because I want to, that I'm going to start a list of all of the literary references in the Emma M. Lyon books. So I'm going to have to go back to volume 1 just to make sure I haven't missed anything. But I've started already with what was mentioned in volume 2. I think I got everything. I'm going to go through it one more time just to make sure I didn't miss a mention of things. But so this is what I have so far. I mean, obviously in the back, we have that list of the books that Emma has currently in her own library, which as of right now is just, Shakespeare, the complete works of Shakespeare, the Bible, and then the Shakespeare comedies that Roland gave her. But there's a lot more literary references than just the books that Emma has on her shelves. And I love bookish things like that, where authors include references to other books. And I just thought it'd be fun to have like a full list of all of whether it's a book or characters or a story or an author or something like that. I just kind of want to have this like list of them all, because I just think it's fun and interesting for me personally. But if any of you are interested, I will compile that list together. And like I said, this is maybe a document that I can, through my Patreon, let everybody have access to it. And I'll just keep like a Google Doc or spreadsheet or something with a list of all of the literary references in Emma M. Lyon. And then you can go and check that out if you're interested at all. And if you're not, that's fine too. So in volume 2, we had obviously the Pyramus and Thisbe, which obviously is a Greek myth, but was referenced in Ovid's Metamorphosis as well as A Midsummer Night's Dream. So we have those references. And then she specifically references The Tempest, obviously Jane Eyre. The Bible gets referenced a lot. She mentions briefly in passing Pliny the Elder, but that was from volume 1, where she meets Islington in that library, and they talk about Pliny the Elder and Pliny the Younger. And then Romeo and Juliet, As You Like It, and Tom Jones. So those are the literary references from volume 2 that I found so far. If anyone knows of any that I've missed, let me know. Okay, let me get back to our chat here. Not Islington. There's the whole class issue. It wasn't acceptable to marry beneath his class. That is a very, very good point. Jacqueline says, don't you just love the cat door the tenant made and him scaring Agnes, picturing Archibald standing on the chair? It's a cat. I know. Oh, and I like that Archibald goes to Hawks and asks, wants him to do like an exorcism to get rid of the cat. I'm like, that's not how exorcisms work. They're not, that's not how they work. They're not for cats. I was like, no, it's okay. It's my cat. It's under control. Yes, I love the little cat door with he's got a little fabric cover over it, so everybody's privacy is intact. And yeah, that was, yes. The cat plays a pretty big role in the stories in the volumes going forward. So yes, who doesn't love a cat? Oh, did I miss Paradise Lost? Was that in volume 2 or was that in volume 1? Not that it matters. I'm just keeping a list. Okay, I'm putting that on my list. Paradise Lost. Yes. I decided I was going to at first because, she references the Bible and different books of the Bible. But I decided the Bible is just going to be one all-encompassing, because there are so many biblical references. Because often when she goes to church, she mentions what Hawks is talking about in his sermon and stuff. And I thought, oh, that's going to be a really long list. I think we can all understand that she talks about the Bible. So yes. Anyone else have any thoughts about the romantic entanglements of Emma's life at the moment? It still feels a little bit early for making any kind of, like, I'm for sure team this or team that, right? Isn't that what people say when they're like two different male or female, could be female. And there's like a love triangle or a love rectangle or whatever it is we've got going on here. I don't think we really have love in any form at the moment. Oh, yeah, let's talk about Hawks. Hawks is a dark horse. She would provide weekly or daily fodder for his sermons, such as they are. He knows more about her than anyone else. Yes. You definitely get the feeling that Hawks is keeping his cards very close to the vest because he's not revealing a lot. And Hawks he's such an interesting character because I think he gives us little nuggets of things about Emma, about Emma's past, about her parents, about different things, and about other people in the neighborhood. He's just a real, like, he doesn't say a lot, but what he says a lot, if that makes sense. So, um, but yes, I mean, I love Hawks. I think he's a great character. I'm not sure about like as a love interest. He feels a little bit like, I mean, he sort of is like the bad boy pastor, but not, but he feels like he's got a dark side that might be too dark for Emma. I don't know. What does everybody think about Hawks? Because I just feel like maybe he's not exactly the right personality for her, that he's better as like a sounding board and as a friend, obviously, somebody she can rely on in that way rather than somebody who she'd have a romantic relationship with. I don't know, it just feels like maybe that might be a little fraught. Because I'm trying to remember. No, I'm not going to share that. See, this is the problem with having read ahead, is that I want to make sure I don't share any spoilers because I don't want to give things away for you guys in the next books that we're coming to. So we sort of end the book with Niall and Emma sort of making this agreement that he's going to rent out the salon in Lapis Lazuli Major. So, which is really kind of interesting given the time period, and that now, if there's a door between his home and Emma's home, that he'll have access to each other in a way that, maybe isn't completely copacetic at this day and age, right? So that's kind of interesting, but at least it will help Emma out financially. Oh, Mr. Penury, the man at the bank, he's another character that I really like. It's nice because, again, it could have been like, I think a lot of times bankers in books and movies are often, characters that are up to no good sometimes. Or they're just sort of clueless about things. But I really feel like Mr. Penury, he could be on Cousin Archibald's side. I mean, society at this time is very male dominated and men were in control of, a lot of women weren't able to own, still early days when women could own property. And, they talk, I think, a little bit about the Marriage Act and how that changes things for women in terms of property. But I really like how sort of gentle he is with Emma and how he sort of is trying to help her as best he can. I mean, he can't hold her hand and make her do things, but he's trying to like, okay, this is what we'll do to try to get you to a good place financially so that you are not, in danger of losing your home, because clearly she doesn't want to have to sell Lapis Lazuli house. And, who can blame her, really? I mean, she's lost so much already. It feels like the one thing she should be able to keep is her home. So, but yes, I just think this volume, gosh, so many characters in this volume. I just feel like we really get, for such a slim little book, there's a lot going on in here. And I just, I love Emma's voice. I just think reading her journals is it's just so fun for the books to be structured that way. You just get this, insight right into her mind. And obviously we're only seeing things from Emma's perspective. But it just works for me. I think just because I really like her as a character. But should we talk about her reading Islington's journal? Because that was kind of naughty. I was, the first time I read it, I was like, Emma, as a diary keeper yourself, you should not be reading somebody else's diary. Like, this is terrible. Oh my goodness. I mean, I know she wanted to find out. And she even says, she's like, I found out who it is, but I'm not going to stop reading. I'm going to finish reading it. And then she does make a reference, I think, when she gives it back to Islington, that I think she says she read it 3 times. She says something about thrice. Like, oh, I read it thrice, like she read it through 3 times. So not only did she read it once, but she read it 3 times. Yeah, it's a wonder that Islington didn't just, I don't know, kick her out and shame her in some way, because that was, I don't know. What does everybody think about Emma reading Islington's journals or diary or whatever it was? Even though it didn't sound like it was his current journal. And, it didn't have a lot of personal references, because it did take her a while to figure out it was him, through the reading of it. But yes. Yeah, she's so cheeky. She owned up to it. She did own up to it, which was good. I mean, she did want to return it to the person, whomever that was going to be. She was, I mean, little bit of moral ambiguity there in terms of, like, reading it so that she could figure out who it belongs to. But yes, I do appreciate that she gave it back, and she has no shame. Jacqueline says, love that she owned up to it. Love that she's cheeky. Shell, yes. Yeah, Shell says, I couldn't believe she read it multiple times and then confessed to him. I know. She had to wait for him in the rabbit room, though. I do love the rabbit room. That sounds like such a, like, just what a room to, like, put somebody in to make them feel like they're on the wrong foot, like they're wrong-footed, because they're clearly the hare and Islington is the hound. But yes, yes, Emma's cheekiness, I think, is one of her more endearing qualities. But I could see where you'd start to read the journal, and then, it's like a story, right? I mean, isn't that why we're drawn to books written in journal format? It's because it's like, getting this interior glimpse into somebody's life that you don't normally get to see, their interior thoughts, right? Even though I think sometimes Emma says interior thoughts that she should keep here, I think they come out. But that's what makes her cheeky. And yes, so I love it. I love it all. I love it all. Is there anything? Let's just talk about maybe let's start. What time is it? I'm not even paying attention. Okay, we're at almost 40. Okay, I think in about 5 minutes we'll do our reading sprint. But until then, oh yeah. Kraft says, how will she feel when she discovers we're reading her journal too? Well, there's always that note in the back that's like, dear reader, as appalling as it is to read another's journal, I would like to thank all those who made it possible for you to begin reading mine. And she also says, a note concerning the presumptuous Beth Brower, who thought it a good idea to put my journals into the world. So, I was like, oh, well, that's the pot calling the kettle black, Emma, especially in this particular volume where she's read Islington's journals. But is there anything about the books or about this volume in particular that you don't like, or is there anything that you want from the books that you're not getting or wish there was? Or let's chat about if there's anything. I mean, no book is perfect, and every reader is coming to a book with a different perspective. So I'm always curious, like, is there something you want more of? Is there a feature to the writing you don't particularly like? Like, share that in the chat if you have any thoughts about that. But yes, so I think while you guys do that, in about 5 minutes, we'll do our first reading sprint. So you can read or do whatever it is you need to do. I think we'll probably do about 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes. And then actually maybe right before we start that, what's everybody reading right now? Is anybody trying to finish anything by the end of today, which is the last day of February? I have a cat who wants to come in this room very badly. He is scratching at the door. Does everybody want to see Huey? Because I know it's him. Hold on 1 second. 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay. Wanna come say hi? Come in. Here, come over here. You gotta come over here so everybody can see you. Because you're a big, tubby cat. Oh my goodness. You want to say hi to the internet? Say hi, Huey. He's like, why are you holding me like this, Mom? I don't like it. This is Huey. I have 2 cats, and their brother and sister. So this is Huey, and his sister is Ivy. He's like, I'm not gonna stay. Do you want me to move that so you can move around? There you go. And there are rescue kitties that we got during the pandemic. My husband and I both had cats when we got together. We had 4 cats between us, which was a lot. And they were all older. And so our last cat passed away right when the pandemic started. And we weren't going to get another cat. But then we decided that we needed something to love when the world felt very dark and hard. So we got those 2, and they're hilarious. Peggy asked, do the MM Lions come in Audible, like on audiobook? No, not at the moment. Though Beth insinuated, I can't remember if I saw it on her Substack or on Instagram, that potentially I think the publisher is working on that, but I think that's a whole other thing. My understanding, and if anyone in here knows for sure, but I think when the M Lion books were first coming out, not that they were self-published, or maybe they were self-published. Anyway, so I think there's some negotiations going on about audiobooks for the books, but as of right now, no, there are not audiobooks. So you can get them in ebook version or you can get physical copies. But sounds like maybe that's going to be coming. And if I hear anything more on that, I will let everybody know, because I know some people really love audiobooks. I love audiobooks too. So anyway, so I got distracted with Huey. Oh, buddy, you gonna come over here? Now he doesn't know what to do because I have the computer in front of me, which I don't normally have. So the only book I'm trying to finish up today, which I might do, I don't have that much left. I'm reading The Scarlet Pimpernel, and it has gotten so good. And I think yesterday I read like 60 pages. I just like it, the action just like picked up, and I need to know what's going to happen. So we'll see. Let's see, I'm on page 166 and there are 225 pages. So what is that? I can't do math right now. 60 pages, 65-ish pages, something like that. Maybe I can do it tonight. If not, I will definitely finish it tomorrow. So hoping to get that finished. But during the reading sprint, I'll probably read that. And then if I need a break from that, which I probably won't because I really want to find out what happens. But then I did finally get a hard copy of Jane Austen's Bookshelf, which I am loving. This is such a good read. Anyone who participated in January, I highly recommend this. It's really, really good. So loving it. And it's adding more books to my TBR. Oh, Jenny's reading Agatha Christie, Body in the Library. Oh, how much more do you have to read, Jenny? That's a great one. I love that, Miss Marple. I haven't read it in a really long time. I'm thinking next year I'm going to do an Agatha Christie reread of some of the books that I haven't read for like decades, because there's a number of her books that I know I really enjoyed, but I don't remember them very well because it's been so long since I read them. 50 pages or so left of that. That's doable. You can do it. You can do it. Ooh, lots of Agatha Christie. Karen finished. Oh, Mirror Crack from. That's one of my favorites. I love Mirror Crack from Side to Side. So good. Oh, and Daddy Longlegs, also another great book. Loving that. Kirsten's reading a book completely out of the norm called Delicates. It's book number 2. Number 1 was called Sheets. Oh, graphic novels. Oh, I haven't heard of those either. What what are they about? Just kind of general, like, is it fiction? Is it what is it about? Crafts says, I just finished Our Man in Havana by Graham Greene. Very funny. I haven't read, the only Graham Greene I have read is The End of the Affair, which I listened to on audio because it was read by Colin Firth, and I love Colin Firth. So that's the only Graham Greene I've read. I really enjoyed it though. But I think I've seen, there was a movie made of Our Man in Havana, wasn't there? I'm pretty sure I saw the movie. The Mirror Cracked is your March read. Yes, that you're gonna, Jenny, you have lots to look forward to. You'll have to let me know what you think because I love that one so much. They're fiction about a teen whose mother died and she's befriended by a ghost. Oh, well, that sounds good. So are they YA or are they adult? You know, for adults versus for young adults. Jacqueline says she's going to start a Maeve Binchy. I got a few of the girls. Somebody on my video that I posted today is reading that right now, and said it's really good. So hopefully. Peggy is reading Catherine's Marriage. Oh, who's that by? I don't know that. I don't know that one. I don't think. It doesn't sound familiar to me. Is it good? Are you enjoying it? All right. Sounds like, oh gosh. And here we are. It's already 47 after. Okay. So let's do our reading sprint, and we will go. Let me get this set up, and then I have to let Huey out because now, of course, he wants to get out. And I think we'll read until 15 after the hour. Okay, so we'll read until 15. All right, so read away, and I'll come back at 15. I'm going to get our little ASMR room going, so give me just 1 second while I do that.
real nurses, flawless results. That's the laser away difference. All of our laser treatments are performed by licensed nurses trained in the
I can tell that she has a great sense of humor, but she hasn't told me a joke yet.
Want a career as a pet psychic? We're not.
Okay, everybody, we will come back. Hope everybody got in some reading or whatever it was. Oh, let me turn off the banner. I always forget all these things I need to do. There we go. Okay. Hope you got in some good reading. I did get some more pages in the Scarlet Pimpernel, and this is quite the like edge of your seat kind of read, which I never would have expected. So I am glad that I picked it up, and I am sticking to my reading new books when I receive them. So this just came in my Small Home Comforts winter book box, and yes, really, really good. Has anyone else read this? Losing track of all my things here. Okay, so do we have, I was going to, actually, another thing I did while we were having that reading sprint was, I did want to mention, because I know during the last live, somebody was asking about like how many books there are going to be. And so I was looking that up, and I didn't realize this. So this is really interesting. So Beth Brower has structured the books like a television show, with each season covering about a year of Emma's life. So the first season is the first 5 volumes, which covers March to December of 1883. Each volume typically covers 2 months. So future seasons are expected to have around 6 volumes each. And it's going to cover 4 years of Emma's life. So 1883 to 1887. And then it says the series is designed with multiple layers of storytelling, including arcs within individual volumes, seasonal arcs, and an overarching story arc, leaving plenty of room for twists, turns, and character development along the way. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting. So if you are curious or were curious about how many books, I didn't realize the season thing, like it's structured like a television season. So that's kind of interesting. I like that idea. I think maybe I need to think about, I don't know, I have to see like at the end of volume 5. Is that right? Volume 5 was what I said. Yes. So I have to see kind of if at the end of volume 5, does it feel like we're sort of wrapping up like a TV season, or is there like a cliffhanger at the end of volume 5? We'll have to see that when we get there. So that's very interesting. Okay. How'd everybody's reading go? Did you all get in some reading, or did you do something else during our little break there? But yes, does anyone else have anything that they want to chat about volume 2 that we haven't chatted about already? I'm trying to make sure that we didn't miss anything. So, hey, Rebecca. There's my Cozy Reader Book Club co-host. So possibly over 20 if 6 books for each year, roughly. Yes, that has been my understanding. I knew there was going to, I feel like somewhere I heard like 24 books or 25. So maybe there'll be a few more. I don't know. But yeah, sounds like at least 20 books. So yeah, lots more Emma M. Lyon to come. And I did just see not too long ago, Beth Brower, somebody had asked a question, about like, well, how long, or, basically, are you going to finish the series before you die? And so sounds like Beth Brower is trying to keep to a fairly regular schedule. I'm not sure exactly what that means. And, obviously as a writer, it's an artistic pursuit. So it's not like you can just say, oh, we're going to have a book every 9 months or something like that. But it sounds like she's going to try to get them out in relatively quick succession. So not years between volumes, but months between volumes, maybe. So we could have volume 9 before the end of 2025. I don't know. So I guess we will have to see. But yeah, so lots of good stuff to look forward to. So other than, if anyone put in the chat, if you have anything else you want to chat about volume 2, anything you particularly loved in here, yes, I mean, I really love the Janes. I love the whole Jane Eyre kind of subplot that goes through this book. Just so fun. I love Jane Eyre. That's one of my very favorite books, my very favorite classic. And it's fun because I just reread it in November. So it's very fresh in my mind right now. And so it was fun when they were referencing things from Jane Eyre in this volume. But yes, and then if you don't have anything else you want to chat about volume 2, well, we can just chat about bookish things in general. But we will be reading volume 3 in March. Anything that anyone in particular is looking forward to reading more of in volume 3? So yes, let me see. Let me just take a quick look if our cast of characters has increased. Oh yes, it didn't. Oh, the one thing we haven't really talked about is Maxwell. So that's Emma's love who was killed in Afghanistan. Oh yes, we definitely are going to meet some new characters. I think in volume 3. Yes, definitely. So Emma's had she's had her fair share of tragedy. She's got quite a resilient spirit for somebody who's lost both of her parents and her, boyfriend, for lack of a better word. Yeah, poor thing. Anyway, does anyone have anything that they particularly want or are hoping for in volume 3, or are you just going along for the ride? And then for volume 3, as always, we can discuss in the Discord group as we go along. But our official, I'm just looking up the date for March's live, will be, again, is that right? Yes. Again, on the 28th. So Friday, the 28th of March will be our live wrap up of volume 3. So this one's a little bit longer. This one is 213 pages up from, how many pages was volume 2? 147. Okay, so quite over 60 pages more. So yes, we're getting a little bit more story in volume 3. Let's see. Oh, I wonder why Roland isn't listed in the characters in the front of volume 2. I feel like each volume lists. Well, I don't know that. You know what? That's a good question. He's not listed in here. Roland. Is it only if they were mentioned like in the prior volume? Let me look at volume 3 as well, just to see. Oh, it's funny. The tenant is listed as the tenant in volume 2, and then in volume 3, he's listed as Niall Pierce. Roman, Jack, Sophronia. I don't know. You know what? He is listed in volume 3. Jack Hollingsdale. Huh. I wonder if that was an oversight. Because they are all listed in the same order in each volume. But in volume 3, he's listed between Jack and Sophronia March. But he's not listed there in volume 2. So I wonder if maybe that was an oversight and he should have been listed in volume 2 and wasn't. Let's see. Rebecca says she's ready for Emma to see the Roman for herself, right? Yes. Give us more of the Roman, and for Emma to see the Roman. I know it's like Mr. Snuffleupagus, right? Nobody but Big Bird can see him. This is like everybody but Emma sees the Roman. Love that Niall gave her the photo to help assuage her grief. It was comforting when she saw that he was in a beautiful place for his final days, except for the whole being shot at and unalived. Yes, shot at and unalived is not good, but yeah, no, that was really... Niall has some really just lovely aspects to his personality. Like their relationship is just, it's good. that could be because Evelyn was listed in volume 2, was in volume 1. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I don't know why he's not listed in here. But again, maybe it was an oversight. That's my only thought. So he is listed in volume 3, however. Yes, so we want Emma to see the Roman. Oh, yes. Oops. Snuffleupagus. Right? Am I dating myself with that reference? I know that Sesame Street finally revealed him, but that was long after my Sesame Street watching days. I think it's okay for there to have been. I mean, I don't feel traumatized. Does anyone else who watched Sesame Street when nobody knew about Snuffleupagus except for Big Bird? Like, were you traumatized by that? Because I feel like that was somehow they were pressured by parents because it was upsetting children that nobody else but Big Bird could see Snuffleupagus. I don't remember feeling traumatized by that, but maybe that's just me. Jacqueline's asking if anyone else has read Beth Brower's The Q. Someone in the Discord group mentioned it the other day and said it was really good. And it's long, though. I think it's like 600 pages or something crazy, I want to say. But I'm curious. I would love to read it. Yeah. Jacqueline, nope, made it through childhood. Okay. See, yeah, that's what I'm feeling like. Like, I think they could have kept that going if they wanted to, but oh well. Yeah, The Q is on my TBR. Okay. Oh, it's almost 500 pages. Yes. I'm very, very curious about it. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to read. Maybe we should read that when we finish the Emma M. Lyon books as far as they've been written. I don't mean like when all 20 are done, but I mean this year when we get through volume 8, maybe we should read The Q. I don't know. If anyone's up for that, let me know. We can consider doing that because yes, I'd be very, very curious to read something else that Beth Brower has written that's not Emma M. Lyon and see if it's the style is the same or it's different. I know I looked up what The Q was about. Let me see if I can quick get a little synopsis for everybody. Actually, I could just probably do it on my computer and then I could share it with you in the chat. I hate when it won't show me things when I wanted to. Beth Brower. Okay, The Q. So let's see. Can Quincy St. Clair keep the Q? A dying man with a scheme, a charming smuggler one step ahead of the law, a former foundling with a mangled hand, a family of kingmakers, a printing tycoon, a constable on the trail of justice, an idealistic solicitor with secrets of his own, and the genius at the center of it all, Quincy St. Clair. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, it looks like it has a lot of characters in it. Okay. Oh, wow. It looks like it has pretty good reviews on Goodreads. 4.56 out of 1,500 ratings. That's pretty good. That's a really high rating, I think, for that many reviews. So, well, now I'm even more curious. Oh, The Q is also on Kindle Unlimited. Fantastic. Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, I definitely would like to read it because I like Emma M. Lyon so much, so I'm assuming I'll probably like her other books as well. And that one sounds really interesting. I know she's written a few things that almost, I think, are a little bit more maybe fantasy oriented. She has this, the books of Emarilla. So yeah, so it sounds like she's written, I can't tell if it's like fantastic fantasy, historical fiction, or just historical fiction. Maybe a little bit of a crossover between those two. Yes, there's always another 1 or 2 or 10 to add to the pile. I watched Kate Howe's middle grade March, or not her middle grade March, but just her most recent video she put up where she talked about tons of middle grade books. I think I added like 8 books to my TBR. Last night I watched Miranda Mills' recent book haul, and then I added like 3 books to my TBR. I was just like, it's just never ending. There's always going to be more books I want to read than I can ever possibly read in my entire life. And I still have 600 some odd unread books on my shelves here. So, you know, but I am doing pretty good. I I'm so proud of my reading my shelves. Is anyone else here reading their shelves this year? If so, how are you doing reading your shelves? I think I have read now, if I finish Scarlet Pimpernel, I think I will have read 24. That's pretty good for the end of February. 24 books already off of my unread shelf. So I feel pretty good about that. So yes. Oh, maybe this one doesn't count. No, this one doesn't count because I got this one after January 1. So I'm at 23. I lied. But I won't have, when I finish that one, I won't have added another one to my TBR because it will be finished now. So that is good. So yeah, so I feel pretty happy with how things are going so far with reading my shelves for 2025. I don't know that I'm at, I wanted to be at like, have like 60 to 70%, 70% of my read books for 2025 be from my unread shelf as of January 1. I think I'm a little bit below that percentage because I've read 42 books. I haven't read 42 books. I've read or DNF'd 42 books because I've DNF'd. Well, I've DNF'd 6 books so far this year, I think. So I've read 38 books. Some of them were children's books, though. So, you know, I've been reading Brambley Hedge, and I read Miss Rumphius this month. And yeah, so those were very short and, you know, easy to read. So it's not like I've read 38 500-page novels. Rebecca, so I don't have a count, but I'm doing better at reading my shelves. Yeah. I mean, that's just like my goal this year really is to like read down my shelves. And also I think what I'm really realizing is like I have a lot of books on my shelves that I've had for such a long time. And I feel like my reading tastes have changed since I bought some of those books. So I am going to continue. I'm going to do another try a chapter video this month because I pulled off 5 books that I've had on my shelf for a while, and I'm just not sure if I want to read them or not anymore. So I'm going to try a chapter and see if they're books I want to keep on my shelf or if maybe I just need to unhaul them, because I do think there are some books that I have that maybe I should just unhaul and let somebody else read them and love them, because, you know, I might as well pass them along to someone who would enjoy them rather than them sitting on my shelves not being read by anybody. Sad, lonely books not being read. That's no good. I don't want that. So yes. So my goal is hopefully whittle out at least some of those books that I just think maybe, you know, your taste, I mean, your reading tastes can change. And I think mine have in terms of the types of books I'm interested in reading at this moment in time. And I don't think any of the books, like I've already I'm going to unhaul. I have like a pile of like 6 or 7 books that I'm going to unhaul. And I don't think any of them, like if I wanted to read them in the future, I'm sure I could find them again, either at the library or, you know, something. So I feel like I will send them out into the world and let someone else enjoy them, because why not? Oh, wow. Over the weekend, you DNF 14 books because your reading tastes have changed. Yeah. You know, I mean, I used to read, some of it just depends on different seasons of life where I've needed things that were just very quick and easy and light. And, you know, when I was in my 20s, I read a lot of like rom-com type books, like Bridget Jones came out, and that was such a huge book at the time. And then there were you know how the market then gets like oversaturated with similar types of books. And so, you know, I read all of those. But like, I just feel like where I am in my life, and it's not that I don't want to read stories that have romantic elements to them, but like that sort of, you know, like the miscommunication where like if they just sat down and had a conversation, then all of this blah, blah, blah would go away. I just have less patience for that in books than I used to. And if that is what makes you happy and you love that kind of stuff in books, that is great. But it's like, I just feel like I don't want to have those books taking up shelf space when I could pass them on to somebody else and have books that, you know, I really want to read and really love. So I'm all about DNFing. Though 14 in one weekend, Elizabeth, that is impressive. I thought my 5 that I DNF'd in January was a lot. But I could totally see that. Like I could see just picking up book after book and feeling like this is not what I want to be reading right now. That was kind of what happened with those 5 books. I did kind of read and DNF them in quick succession. Just felt like I just was like, this is not what I want to read. And so, you know, you shouldn't read books that aren't working for you. Like that's no good. I'm a staunch advocate of donating books to the library. I'm fortunate enough to be able to purchase books. There are many readers who cannot. Absolutely. I donate to the library. I also donate to little free libraries because I think that's another great way for people to get free books. So I do try to like spread my book love out. You know, I've done some major unhauls where I've taken them to half price books but if half price books isn't going to take them, because sometimes they'll tell you like, we don't want these, then I will donate those to the library because, you know, somebody should get them even if half price. I mean, sometimes half price books doesn't want them because they have too many copies of those particular books or whatever. I don't know what their reasoning is behind not accepting books, but sometimes they don't. So I will always, excuse me. This is what happens when I talk to them. I'm not a talker, you guys. One of these lives, I need to have somebody else come on with me so that we can chat together. I need to have a panel. You guys like message me if you want to be on a live discussion of Emma M. Lyon. I know you do. Let me know. Like Rebecca, I know you can. You and I could chit chat. Anyway, I thought it would be fun maybe in some of the upcoming lives to have a couple other people or at least one other person that I can chat with. But yes, absolutely. I mean, it is a privilege to be able to purchase books and to have such a big library of books. I feel forever grateful for that. And I love that the library is a way that we can give back. Do you read more than one book at a time? Yes. Yes, I do read more than one book at a time. I never used to do that. I used to be one book after the next book, after the next book, after the next book. That's just boom, 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 how I read. But over the past few years, I've really come to, and well, I wouldn't say that. A lot of times I'd have a physical book and an audio book going because I felt like I could keep those two things separate. And as long as I'm not reading things that are too similar. So like right now I have a classic going, The Scarlet Pimpernel. I just started and I really haven't gotten into it at all, but I'm reading Candle Island by Lauren Wolk, which is Nat Galley of her new book that's coming out in April. So it's a middle grade book. And then I'm actually listening to Olive Kitteridge, the audiobook, because I got it from my library. And actually it's really good on audio. I'm enjoying that. And then I have my nonfiction, which is Jane Austen's bookshelf. So they're all very different. If I pick up a book and it's too similar to something else I'm reading, then I have to set it aside until I finish the other book, because then it will all just congeal in my mind and become like one giant book rather than two separate stories, and I will be confused. Okay, Rebecca, you and I will chat offline. Perfect. Thank you. Yay. Yeah, definitely different genres, different stuff. You know, the stories have to be very different. Yeah, depending on your mood. And for sure. And there's times when I'm only reading one book, you know, like sometimes I'll just finish a bunch of things and I'm really into one book. And when I say I'm reading them, it's not like every single day I'm picking up these and reading them. I mean, right now I'm super focused on The Scarlet Pimpernel because I'm just loving it and I'm deeply enmeshed in the story. And then I listen to my audiobook, like when I'm on my walks, when I'm in my car, if I'm doing housework. Oops, excuse me. So I usually have like those two things going. And then the other books, you know, I will occasionally just like I'll have my Kindle, maybe I'll put it in my purse if I'm going somewhere and I might have to wait. And so then I'll have something to read. So, you know, I'm not always like actively reading 4 or 5 books at one time, even though I'm kind of sort of in the middle of them, so to speak. Rebecca says, I'm usually listening to a book by myself, listening to a book with my kids, reading a physical book aloud with my kids, reading a physical copy, and reading an ebook. That's That's a lot. Well, I mean, obviously I think that's probably like the books you're reading with your kids. I'm sure you can keep separate from those books that you're reading for yourself. And do you try to keep the genres or types of books like, very distinct, or do you not get confused? I get easily confused, but that's just me. But yeah, I've found, because sometimes I'm just in the mood and my mood can change throughout the day, maybe early in the day, I want something that's more fast paced, or I'm super tired later in the day and I want something that's just easy. And I can easily turn the pages and I don't have to like concentrate on it, like a nonfiction or a classic or something like that. I read something like Emma M. Lyon, that's a good one to have going when I need just something light. I tried reading aloud, but my dog left the room. Your dog doesn't like you to read aloud? Yeah, I don't know if my cats would like that either. I'm like fickle felines. Dog's not a book lover, huh? I don't know about that. So yes, I say read a lot of books at once, or read one book at a time, whatever works best for you and your brain. Like, read what you want, when you want, how much you want. I'm a proponent of there's no one way to do reading or to be a reader. That was one thing I really struggled with when I was first on Bookstagram, was that it felt like there were people out there telling you what you should be reading and how you should be reading. And I thought, well, that's ridiculous. Like, just because I'm not reading XYZ particular type of book, or, that's no, read what you want to read. Like, there's lots of ways to get information. And just because I'm not reading that type of information in novel format or book format doesn't mean I'm not getting or taking in that information. So I don't seem to get confused, but I do take notes sometimes to help with that. Yeah, I could see that for sure. Sometimes I think it's easier to like compartmentalize books if they're for something specific in your life. Like, say you're taking a class and you're reading a book for that. Like, I find it easier, like when I was in college and I was reading books, I would still read books not a lot, but I'd usually have like one for fun book going, which was probably something very light and fluffy, either like a mystery or a rom-com or a romance or something like that, just because sometimes your brain needs a break from all the like literariness of being an English major. But it was very easy to like keep those things separate. One, because they were very different things, and two, you're reading them in different ways. Like when you're studying a book, like I definitely feel like I read differently when I read books that I'm going to talk to you guys about, that I read books for book clubs, or if I'm going to buddy read, I'm much more intent on what I'm reading than if I'm just reading something that's just for me, just for pure pleasure and fun. And, I think reading can be all of those things. Jenny says, yes, I usually have two, but different types, and sometimes a nonfiction along with them too. Yes. I think it's definitely nonfiction and fiction, as long as they're not about the same subject, easy to keep separated in my mind. But yeah, definitely having distinctly different books going. If I'm going to be reading multiple books, that's what works for me. But everybody's different. Everybody's brain works in different ways. So do what works best for you. All right, we've got about 15 more minutes. What is everybody looking forward to reading in the next, couple of weeks or in March? I know a lot of people are participating in middle grade March. There's March Mystery Madness. There's March of the Mammoths, which I always forget about because there's so many other things going on. There's the Irish Readathon. Am I forgetting anything? Or, are you just going to read what you want to read? Because that's what I used to do before, being in sort of the online book community. I just read what I was in the mood to read. But it is fun to be part of the different challenges if you're doing that. Oh, well, yes, of course. Rebecca and I are reading Swallows and Amazons for the Cozy Reader Book Club. Where's my copy is. I have all my books for March are back here, but yes, these classic British children's adventure stories. So it's middle grade March, which we planned on purpose. I'm very much looking forward to this. Actually, you know what's funny? Do you ever have like you get a used book and there's something somebody left? I'm just leaving it in here, like a newspaper cutting. Is this about? Oh, this is about swallows and Amazons. Oh, I did not even realize this. It's about, there's a film adaptation, and whoever it was put this article. Okay, I'm gonna have to read this now. I didn't realize, I thought I just looked at the back side of it. I didn't open it up and actually look at it. So this is very cool. I'm going to use this as my bookmark, I think. So I'm very much looking forward to reading that. Sonia, hello there. Hi, Sonia. You're combining MMM and MGM. That's what I'm doing. Looking for my super stack of books. Oh my gosh. I mean, if you saw my March pile of possibilities, that's ridiculous. And I think I've added to it since then. Since I filmed, I think there's more books that I've added. Oh, I'm going to have to watch the movie after we read the book. So, Rebecca, have you read the book, or are you reading it? Have you just seen the movie? Peggy, you've been really liking. I know middle grade books are just so wonderful. There's just something about them. And I think it's a good way to read about subjects that maybe when they're written for adults are really can be really hard to read, especially if you're a sensitive person like I am. But when it's done in middle grade books, because they're written for children, I don't know, it just feels gentler in a way. And you could still learn about difficult subjects and talk about difficult topics without it being so like in your face, hard hitting in a way that adult books can sometimes be. So, yes. So yeah, my March pile possibilities feeling was obnoxious. Yes. I was like, this is out of control. Out of control. Okay. Oh, you have already read. You watched it after you read the book as a family read aloud. Yeah. I'm going to maybe see if my son wants to read it after I read it, because I think he might like it. Adventure stories. What's not to like? Yes, they're so innocent. Middle grade books. Absolutely. Oh yeah, let's everybody chat. Do we read the book first or do we watch the movie? Usually I read the book first. Not always. Sometimes that's, sometimes I'll watch a movie and I'll be like, I didn't know that was a book. Like, I didn't know that was based on a book. So sometimes, that happens. But I think usually I like it. And I mean, you do have to look at them as their own specific type of art. The movie's never going to be exactly the book. The book's never going to be exactly the movie. So yeah, but I usually like to read the book first before I see the movie. Just because I think it's, movies have a finite amount of time and books can be as long as they need to be to tell the story. So there's always going to be things movies have to leave out unless they make it into like a mini series, something like that, or a TV series. See Elizabeth, 3-Act Tragedy by Agatha Christie for their monthly read, volume 3 of Emma M. Line. Yes, right, everybody. That's on our TBR for March. Absolutely. Need to decide on a middle grade book. So many good middle grade books. It's really hard to decide. Everybody's saying, read first, read the book first. But I have found a movie I've seen to be a book later in time. Yes. Yeah, because like I said, I've had that happen sometimes where I didn't know that the movie was based on a book and that I have read the book afterwards. And it's not terrible to do. I mean, there's no wrong way to do it. You do what works best for you. But I just find I like to have the like full story, and then I can also then sometimes I can be like, that was not in the book. Be very judgmental. Elizabeth reads first. Yes. Sonia, I think middle grade books bring a softer insight to hard-hitting topics, which helps them be a little easier to digest, although they are still well-written and engaging. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Like, even I talked today in my the video that came out today, I gave some middle grade recommendations. I talked about Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga, and that's, talks about a girl and her mother who've come to the United States from Syria, and, it's like, things are not good in Syria. They've left her father and her brother behind. And yet, like, the book itself is just lovely and uplifting, even though that she goes through horrible things when she gets here, just trying to assimilate into American culture. And, like it's not easy, but it was easier to read about it in that format than I think if it had been written for adults. So, the book's always better. I know. I'm trying to think. Does anyone think of a movie they've seen that was better than the book? I don't know. I have seen a movie, and I went with a good friend of mine, and we had both read the book. It was like a mystery thriller type of a book. I can't remember what book or movie it was now, but it was by somebody like Jeffrey Deaver, somebody who writes, is it Alex Cross or something like, anyway, the movie completely changed who the killer was at the end. And we both looked at each other. We were like, oh, that's not who did it. We were so shocked. I was like, why would you change that? Like, the character was in the movie, like the person who did it. I was like, why would you change that? We were flabbergasted. So I've never had that. That's the only time I've ever had that happen. It was crazy, but yeah. So that was nuts. That was definitely a time when, the movie was good, but it was such a shock to have the ending changed. Like, why would you? I don't understand Hollywood. So let's see. Oh, I'm getting behind. You guys are so quick in the comments right now. Okay, let's see. I'm going to read The Incredible Journey by Sheila Burns for middle grade March. I read it in the 60s before any of the movies were made. I related to it so much because I had 2 dogs and a cat. The Incredible Journey. Oh, I was like, okay, I totally misread that. Yes, The Incredible Journey. I've only seen the movie. I don't think I've seen the book. Oh, and there are some children's books where I saw the movie. Things like Mary Poppins and Peter Pan, and I'm trying to think what else, but things like that where I clearly saw the movie first before I read the book, just because I was probably fairly young when the movie came out, and maybe the books were, sometimes books aren't written for children quite that young. The Princess Bride. Yes, I was just like, oh my gosh. Okay, Princess Bride. The number one case in point where the movie it's lots better than the book. We read it last year for the Cozy Reader Book Club, and the book they basically took the best parts of the book and put them into the movie, and everything else that they left out, you could totally do without. They should redo the book and just have it be the movie and leave out because the William Goldman sort of inserts himself into the story a lot. And it's not my favorite. Oh yeah. Crenshaw. Yes. Yeah. We did a read aloud with my son of Crenshaw, and that it does tackle homelessness and difficult topics. But with the way it was done, that's a great book. Oh, that's right. Yes, everybody should go watch Rebecca's YouTube video about movies that are better than the books. That was a good one. I forgot you had done that. The movie for Stuart Little was better, in your opinion. I'm trying to think now. It's been so long. I read Stuart Little as a kid, and then I read it with my son, and then we watched the movie. Now I'm trying to remember. I think I've only seen the movie that one time, though. Stand By Me was better than the book, personally. I think that the book is good, but the movie is great. All the boys in that were fantastic. Really well, so well cast. Oh, I also like Kiki's Delivery Service movie better than the book, though I really enjoyed the book. I feel that way also about Howl's Moving Castle. I don't know why. I think because we read Howl's Moving Castle aloud to my son, but my husband and I would alternate nights reading it. And I was so confused. Probably because I wasn't reading like the whole thing. I read like half of it, but spread out every other section. So I like the movie better because I was like, oh, okay, now I understand what's going on. I was so lost. And I haven't read Kiki's Delivery Service, but the movie's lovely. All those, what are they? Who is it that does those movies? They're great. Oh, the Ghibli? Yes, Ghibli. Yeah, same. I think I don't know. I don't know what it is about the books. I know lots of people love Howl's Moving Castle. I felt a little bit like removed from the story again. And maybe that was because I was only reading part of it, but I just felt like wasn't fully engaged in what was going on. But yeah, we love all the Kiki's Delivery Service, Howl's Moving Castle. My son loves Totoro. We've watched Totoro so many times. Which I don't know if there is a book of Totoro, but I don't know if the book came before the movie or the book came after the movie, because sometimes that happens too. So, oh no, I haven't. I love The Borrowers. It's one of my very favorite. Okay. I gotta write that down so I don't forget. All right. Thanks, Rebecca. I know, I was thinking, I have so many books I want to reread for middle grade March, but I'm trying to read off my shelves, and rereading books means that, I'm not reading books that I haven't read. So, oh, good. Perfect to watch in the spring. Wonderful. Oh, let's see. I was going to mention Ariadne. I adore that one. When Marnie was there, and Whisper of the Heart on my face. Oh, I haven't seen any of these. I'm gonna have to make a Studio Ghibli just to watch list. Oh, this is good. We're always looking for family movies that we can watch. We're actually watching the Series of Unfortunate Events, the TV show that with Neil Patrick Harris. My son is loving it, and we're hoping to find, if anyone has recommendations for a good like family television series. My son's 11. He likes animals. He likes, we watched Percy Jackson. He really liked that. He reads a lot. He reads all kinds of stuff. But a lot of fantasy, but he'll read anything really. He loves cats. And if you have any suggestions, let me know, because I'm always looking for both movie and TV show ideas. Whisper of the Heart. Okay. Fantastic. We do family movie nights on the weekend, so I'm always looking for good family. Over the Garden Wall. Is that a movie or is that a TV series? Over the Garden Wall. But yeah, Series of Unfortunate Events is really good. And I haven't read the books, but I am actually kind of curious to read them, because I want to see how they are different or similar to the TV show. Because again, with the TV show, I feel like they can flush out the story more because they have more time to do that. But yeah, I'm just very curious. We have my son has the first book. So, maybe I'll try to read that in March. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what I get to. I should not be adding any more books to my TBR. Oh, yes. Yes. I love Hugo. That's another one where, that's a toss-up. I feel like both the book and the movie are equally good. They're just, they're just two different art forms of the same thing. Yes, I loved the book and I loved the movie. So good. I might have read the book after I saw that movie. I can't remember now. It's been a long time. Reading and popular. Oh, I don't know that one. Oh, it's like a cozy Tim Burton, if that makes any sense at all. No, that makes total sense. Yes. Oh, cozy Tim Burton. I can get behind that. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, I think we are going to wrap it up mostly because I need to go have some dinner. But thank you guys all for coming, for chatting Emma M. Lyon and hanging out and reading with me and all that good stuff. We'll be back next month for Emma M. Lyon, Volume 3. Until then, I will see you in Discord, Instagram, YouTube, all the places. But thank you guys so much for being here and chatting. I wish you all have a wonderful weekend. I hope you have lovely weather wherever you are. It's not too cold or was weirdly hot here today. But we're going to have some cozy rain this weekend, and I'm looking forward to that. But thank you all so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.